We recently discussed the recently discovered evidence regarding the curse of the pharaohs, which is now believed to have been caused by radiation rather than a mysterious spell that would have destroyed 20 members of Carter's expedition if anyone had dared to raid Tutankhamun's tomb. These massive radiation levels are traced back to enigmatic chambers known as mastabas, which are predictably said to have once been tombs, with toxic levels now established throughout the Giza Plateau and along the Nile. Since radon gas is a major waste product from uranium decay, levels of it are now known to be thousands of times higher than safe background levels. They once contained radioactively charged elements, possibly wastewater from a nuclear reaction. However, since we discussed this astounding insight, new information has emerged that suggests the Great Pyramids may still be intact and operational, in addition to finally confirming their original, true purpose. What are they doing, I wonder? For what purpose could they have been using such immense power? It is entirely speculative what the structures might accomplish when properly fired up, but this discovery has the potential to finally reveal their actual function. And our research has provided unquestionable proof of this. An enormous network of giant vertical shafts that are buried thousands of meters beneath the Great Pyramid has been discovered by a team of Italian researchers. The shafts are wrapped in cylindrical chambers, and on either side of the platform is a massive limestone structure with two enormous cavities with descending channels that resemble pipelines. The researchers said in a news briefing on Saturday that they had discovered a water system beneath the platform, which is more than 2,100 feet below the Khafre Pyramid, with underground passageways that extend even farther down into the ground. Although it was not peer-reviewed, the team's use of radar pulses to produce high-resolution images deep beneath the structures may have finally explained how these massive features could have been known about but concealed for decades. Before the hypothesis can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, several things need to be verified, including the structures, their characteristics, and even the radiation levels. However, it begs the question, were these massive, seemingly inaccessible labyrinths ever found but subsequently concealed, perhaps because their presence revealed the pyramid's actual purpose? Without doing more research into the subterranean chambers, we can begin to verify some of the power station hypotheses. First of all, the cylindrical wells that were discovered in other parts of the world could now be tested by the theory, perhaps to contain nuclear reactions by submerging uranium rods. We recall an email from a member of the Bosnian pyramid investigation that described how they had discovered such waterways within the pyramid, as many pyramids around the world have been shown to have enigmatic, charged watercourses, either running along or, in many cases, through these structures. Throughout the Bosnian site, the river had been masterfully man-made, and the water levels were manipulated to be just a few inches in many areas. The artificial nature and the efforts put into achieving this feat were clear to the team, yet until now, the purpose of these waterways was unknown. Are we seeing signs of old nuclear reactors that were naturally fed and cooled? Unfortunately, the results of any such tests have not yet been determined. If this is the case, one would also anticipate finding radiation levels above normal in Bosnia's lower chambers. However, this did not deter us from looking elsewhere, and it didn't take long to return corroborating evidence found within the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico. An abstract from the research is as follows. Beneath the pyramid, there is a pre-Hispanic tunnel that was used for ritual ceremonies. We evaluated the radon levels inside this and other tunnels, plus tunnels excavated for research purposes by archaeologists. Passive nuclear track detectors were used to measure radon. Radon ranged from 70 to 190 becquerels per cubic meter. The radon levels decreased with height above ground level. Our next course of action was to try to establish if this was indeed the case. Why would they hide such an astonishing truth? What motive could there be? Could there be even more to this secret, such as a possible past function? If these structures were found to somehow be interconnected, creating a grid across our planet, we could be looking at the ultimate motive for the entirety of the cover-up we so tirelessly work to expose. When we did this investigation, we were confronted with a shape created by these structures which formed the mystical flower of life. Could this flower be a message? A sign indicative of the true purpose of this grid and indeed the pyramids themselves? Could the pyramids somehow be generating our dimension, or possibly created a dimension our ancestors once vanished to? Perhaps not the victims of a sudden cataclysm, but a type of rapture once accomplished through technical prowess and knowledge of the true secrets of the universe. Energy has now been recorded as being strangely emitted by countless pyramids across the planet. Even the Great Pyramids are now confirmed as having this trait. This could indicate that these secret hidden chambers still contain some form of functioning reaction, these structures being giant power-generating machines. Once we finally establish this en masse, we can work on unraveling just what our ancestors were truly capable of, and, inevitably, what we will also become capable of ourselves thanks to these magnificently resilient structures. Technology left to us, possibly by a now interdimensional civilization. Could we be on the verge of finally unlocking the secrets of the ancients and the purpose of the pyramids? A secret that will change the course of our history forever. Could we, here on our channel, be on the precipice of confirming the true purpose of Earth's Great Pyramids once and for all? I find the possibility highly compelling. Anyone who tampered with the ancient Egyptian mummies was said to be subject to the curse of the pharaohs. Known for taking the lives of at least 20 people connected to the opening of King Tut's tomb, this curse is said to bring misfortune, sickness, or death, and does not distinguish between thieves and archaeologists. However, could the cause for the curse have a more elemental origin? Could their ailments, which were brought on by radiation poisoning, have been brought on by decades of digging in Egypt's soil and sands, rather than a spell? We have melted steps that were discovered inside Dendara Temple. The odd and intriguing copper handles on Gantenbrink's door are believed by many to be ancient cathodes. Could these anomalies be proof that Egypt had previously experienced a meltdown that led to the disappearance of the pyramid builders themselves? Carter was constrained by the science available at the time, but he is renowned for conducting numerous tests on the artifacts he would discover, including swabbing the air to make sure there was no curse. He could not sense the dangers of radiation, even though the air he breathed was safe. According to a new study published in the Journal of Scientific Exploration, the source of this radiation has now been found. Locations within Giza and also Saqqara have now been found to have background radiation still 10 times over the safety threshold, with massive deposits of ancient uranium now found to have somehow once leached into the many walls of the mastabas that dot the surroundings of the Great Pyramids. These, predictably, were once just argued away as ancient tombs. However, why such massive amounts of an element known to be used in nuclear reactors are present here also predictably escapes mainstream explanation. Many ancient pyramids across the globe, such as those within Bosnia, or the series of buried Great Pyramids once investigated within Crimea, have been shown to emit strange energy fields. These peculiar features were discovered at various pyramids throughout history, and people came to similar conclusions that they may have once been used to produce electricity. The two sites were in what is called the Osiris Tomb Shaft, which is a network of tunnels beneath Pharaoh's Valley building. Here, it was discovered that 2 stone coffers were extremely radioactive, with the insides of the coffers being even more so than the exterior. It appeared as though these 2 containers had been filled with something that gave off a lot of radiation. Radiation was also released from similar magazines or storage spaces beneath Djoser's pyramid in Saqqara. The area looks to have been once filled with hundreds of pots, their contents unanalyzed and unknown. The study believes that these pots and the other storage containers are filled with uranium-235, known as yellow cake. When used to enrich uranium isotopes for use in contemporary nuclear reactors, this extremely radioactive material would release lethal radiation. Could all of this support the original intent of the Great Pyramids? A lost technology that might have provided energy that seemed to have no limits? The possibility is very attractive to us. Even though the Great Pyramids are unquestionably one of the most significant ancient sites on Earth, many believe that when these mysterious constructions are finally deciphered and their significance is understood, their significance to human development will completely overshadow everything that has already been discovered on our planet. We anticipate that the site will yield several astounding findings that the media and mainstream academia will surely downplay or discredit. Curiously, though, the findings of a global research team have been disseminated globally by the same organizations that we frequently accuse of conspiracies on our channel. In an exercise reminiscent of those that revealed the astounding features of the Bosnian pyramids, this research team reportedly applied theoretical physics techniques to the site in an attempt to examine the electromagnetic response of the Great Pyramids to radio waves. Has produced results that, predictably, since their discovery, scientists have stated were supposedly predicted under certain resonance conditions. They now state that the pyramid was predicted to concentrate electromagnetic energy in its internal chambers and under the base. This supposed initial prediction was made, even though not a single claim to these events had ever been made within a single thesis funded by academia. Conveniently, this research group plans to use the theoretical results to design nanoparticles capable of reproducing similar effects in the optical range. Such nanoparticles may be used to develop sensors and highly efficient solar cells. The study was published in the Journal of Applied Physics. We believe that the people in charge of the world's production lines are aware of the Great Pyramid's technological prowess, but they seem to be stifling these discoveries to maintain financial dominance. To put it another way, those who have allowed these discoveries to be made public are also in charge of our species' information flow and technological advancement. Quote, "There has always been a lot of interest in the Egyptian pyramids. We, as scientists, were interested in them as well, so we decided to look at the Great Pyramid as a particle dissipator of radio waves. Resonantly, we had to make some assumptions because we didn't have enough information about the pyramid's physical characteristics. For instance, we assumed that the building material had the characteristics of regular limestone, evenly distributed throughout the pyramid, and that there were no unidentified cavities inside. Using these presumptions, we were able to produce intriguing results with significant real-world applications," says Dr. S.C. Andrei Evuchin, the researcher's scientific supervisor and coordinator. "We think the research is questionable because it was reported by the same mainstream media, who we believe has long been paid to present an entirely different picture, and because it makes the claim that there are no more chambers in the pyramid that need to be explored. Is there something in the pyramid that some powers can't seem to hide, no matter how hard they try? Is this why there has been so much coverage of this conclusion and the research that followed? We are extremely suspicious of the discovery and the coverage that followed.